Hey friends, Ash here, Gents. How you doing? So good to hear, man. I was worried about you. So glad you're here. Today we're talking about beast mode fragrances, powerful fragrances, long-lasting fragrances. Much more long-lasting than fruit stripe gum, longer than juicy fruit, longer than all that stuff. Not only that, they also smell amazing in the dry down, which is the most important part of the fragrance because the top, while that's good, doesn't usually last all that long. That dry down sticks around. So that's what we're doing. Let's jump into it. Let's talk about them. And a friendly reminder, friends, as we head into the end of the year, if you should shop at twistedlily.com or maxaroma.com, use the code GENTS10, save yourself 10% off your order. Or if you shop at Lucky Scent, they've changed the code to GENTS2022, which will get you 10% off your order. Or alternatively, hear me out here. Hear me out. You could check out my new fragrances, Blue Ridge Terra Nova. Love them. Code GENTSCENTS, GENTSCENTS, will get you 20% off either one of these or both of these. Link in the description to check them out, michaelmalul.com. I was the creative director with these, worked with the perfumers over the last year to get them right. Both of them super versatile, compliment beasts. And at this point, I would say both of those are like my signature fragrances. I'm not biased or anything. First one, Overture Man from Amouage. Yeah, honestly, I could put a lot of Amouages in here because they all last a long time. Yeah, pretty much all of them. I was trying to think of one that's like really overtly weak. And yeah, nothing popped into my mind. It's just one of those houses, man. You know what you're in for. Overture is absolutely sick. Perfect this time of year. A little bit smoky, boozy, woody, a little bit smoky. Maybe a little bit more than a little bit, but still absolutely wearable. Doesn't really have too much of a divisiveness to it, which sometimes Amouage fragrances can be a little divisive. You know, some people just can't get with them, but this one really, really top notch and wearable. It was hard to find for a long time in the US. You had to pay out the nose if you wanted it. I guess technically you do still have to pay out the nose a little bit because it's still an Amouage at the end of the day, but at least you can find it now. Let's go from there to a fragrance in a similar-ish style, you know, similar-ish family, but way, way cheaper, way more affordable. Oud Wood Intense from Lattafa. Now, the original Oud more popular than this one. More people know about that one. And the original Oud is a bit similar to 24 Gold by Scent Story, which also actually is quite a strong fragrance, 24 Gold. This one's smoky and woody. It's got an oud wood note, gaiac wood note as well, but also quite sweet. It's got caramel in here, vanilla, kind of a sugary sweetness to it, which helps offset the oudiness in the scent. So it's really like a Middle Eastern woody style fragrance with a heavy amber undertone to it. Lasts a long time, projects well, and I actually prefer Wood Intense over the original Oud myself. I think it's more masculine, I think it's higher quality, just overall better smelling. From there, let's talk about Aqua de Parma leather. Yes, just leather. When you don't really want to worry about naming conventions, that's how you do it. Now this one has raspberry and citrus in the top, and anytime you see raspberry and leather, automatically you think Tom Ford Tuscan leather. You think, oh, it's just gonna be another Tuscan leather, whoop-de-doo, who cares? There's like 2 dozen of those out there. Just playing, there's probably like 12 dozen. But really, it's not. It doesn't really come across as sweet at all as Tuscan leather. The raspberry in here is much more toned down, and the leather is darker in this one than it is in the Tom Ford. It's got more smokiness to it. It's got a little more of an animalic touch to it. It's not quite as easy to wear, but it does come across, in my opinion, quite elegant and very rich. I actually personally love this one, but it is a little divisive, so keep that in mind. If you're looking for just the easiest, simplest, pimplest leather fragrance to wear, check out Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. That one's probably a little easier. And by probably, I mean definitely. But if you're feeling a little adventurous, feel free to check out that Aqua de Parma. Go back into the designer realm, another affordable one, Burberry Brit Rhythm Intense. Now this used to be much cheaper than it is now. At least when I last checked, it looked like it was going for around $36, something around there, which obviously is not expensive, but back, call it last year, I think, it was cheaper than that. I think it was $25, even $20 some places. So the price has crept on this one. ever so slightly upward. This is one of those fragrances that just has an enormous note breakdown where it has like 20 or 25 notes, something like that, where they basically just tell you every single thing that may possibly be perceptible in the scent. I think there's like a happy median, you know, where you don't just give 3 notes, but you also don't have to give 20 notes. Maybe meet somewhere in the middle, but this one skews more toward the overload of information side, which honestly, I prefer that than just the 3 notes, but enough of that. It's got leather, vanilla, raspberry, and pepper, along with mint as some of the notes in that multitude of notes. So it's a fragrance that has some fresh spiciness to it, some aromatic quality to it, but then at the same time, it's got a good punch to it, a lot of heft, lasts a long time, projects quite well. Gonna be better suited for fall, winter, and I'd say early spring. You do get a little sweetness that comes out in the base, you know, some tonka that comes out. And it's a nice change of pace, I would say, as compared to most more typical fall winter time fragrances that are going to be very sweet, spicy, rich. This one, as I said, gives you a little freshness to the spice, a little aromatic touch as well, instead of just being sweet on top of sweet. Ooh, this next one, real nice. Absolute Gold, or Code Absolute Gold, from Armani. So this one has tonka and benzoin. It's got that Code DNA to it, but it also has an addition of iris. Quite a different style of iris fragrance here as compared to Code Parfum though, because this one is more so following along in the Code Profumo, Code Absolute, and going back a ways, Code Ultimate style of Code fragrance, and then sprinkling in a very nice, very classy, elegant iris note. So it adds this little bit of creaminess to it. It's not overly makeup-y or lipsticky or anything like that. Performance is still here as compared to Absolute. Really nice, lasts a long time, projects quite well. So whereas Code Parfum is kind of an evolution of Code Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum, this one, as I said, closer to Profumo and Absolute. After that, fragrance that doesn't get talked about all that much, it is Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense. One great thing about this fragrance is actually just that it has a magnetic cap, but in all seriousness, this is a very fruity, sweet, oudi scent without any of that funk, that oud funk. So you have a little touch of earthiness, not too much. You got patchouli in here, the aforementioned oud, a little vanilla and ambroxan as well, but then that fruity sweetness in the opening, it's like ever so slightly syrupy, but not in a cloying way. Syrupy in a very appealing way, in my opinion. Like, this is one that I really enjoyed, much more so than I thought I would. Smells very different from the original Brioni Eau de Parfum. So this is not one of those circumstances where they took the original and then did a flanker, an intense flanker, and then made it basically just a more intense version of the original. They didn't do that at all. They gave it the name Intense and then just made it its own thing completely. Fall, winter time, absolutely fantastic. Love this one. Let's keep it designer for now with Kinzo Ohm Eau de Parfum up next. And this one, I believe, has been discontinued now, unfortunately. And Kinzo has switched it up. They've gone with the new bamboo style bottles, which I like the look of those, but I also really like the look of these bottles too. Now, this one got hated on a bunch when it was released by people in the community. They said it sucked, it was garbage, generic, boring, etc., etc. It just got flamed into the earth. So this one I blind bought, and my expectation was it's not going to be any good. I got it from FragranceNet quite a while back, and I can remember just thinking, you know, it's pretty cheap. I'll throw it in the cart, pick it up. Maybe it'll be okay. But my expectations were very low because everybody had said it's terrible, smells like Invictus, it's no good. And I'm not really a fan of Invictus. But surprisingly, I actually liked it. Came in, unboxed it, sprayed it on. And when I smelled it, I thought, yeah, that smells good. If I smell that on somebody else, I'll think, man, that's nice. It's fresh, a little bit sweet, airy, kind of ozonic. Yes, a little bit like Invictus, but much fresher, not as syrupy, not as bubblegummy. And it lasts a long time, so people can easily pick that up over the hours. And for a good price from a discounter, I think it's a solid pickup. Kinzo Ohm Eau de Parfum, as I said, I think it's discontinued. That's the word on the street. I don't know, for a fact, but I'm glad I have it. And now we return to the world of niche with Mancera's Red Tobacco. Yeah, Red Tobacco. This one, when it was released, I was really hyped for, very much wanted it. I love tobacco fragrances. Mancera consistently makes fragrances for a good price that are wearable. So it's like niche quality for an affordable price that you can actually wear quite often. That's how most of their releases are. So I was like, man, can't wait to get this in. A new tobacco fragrance? Yes, please. Got it in, sprayed it on, hated it. Absolutely hated it. The opening is just, it is overwhelming. It is like an army of gremlins, of aroma chemical gremlins rushing your nose with no thought or care about your well-being at all. Actually, they just want to run you over and melt your face. That's how red tobacco smells, or how it smelled the first time I smelled it. So yeah, very chaotic, a lot going on, very strong, very powerful, spicy, a little sweet, with that kind of tobacco woody undertone. Now, to be fair, after I've worn it over the years so many times, the opening doesn't bother me at all. I think it smells fine now. A lot of people do still have issues with that opening. That said, when that stuff dries down, it is so freaking good. Like, the warmth and sweetness that it takes on with the tobacco is just so nice. And for the price you can pick that up for, it's hitting out of its league. So Red Tobacco, that one, if you get past the opening, it is exquisite. And also, if you wear it enough, the opening will start to smell good to you. After that, Hasavat from Nishane, a little bit of that Aventus-ish style of fragrance. You know, some people do say that Aventus isn't what it used to be as far as performance goes. If that's the case for you and you wanted something that's a little Aventus-ish, but you wanted more performance, you could check this one out. It is, after all, an extrait de parfum, and it performs like one. Pineapple and citrus in the opening, and then as it dries down, oak, moss, and woods come out. So you're not going to get as much of that vanilla here as compared to Aventus. Not so much of that birch either. Whereas very clean and woody, and is a type of scent that you can pull off just about any time you want. Last fragrance, personal love of mine, Pure Excess Night. Also the original Pure Excess, very good as well. But between the two, if you want one that packs a little more punch, be this one. Kind of an interesting note breakdown here because it has the note of ginseng, which you don't see very much ever. Also ginger, cacao, caramel, and myrrh, along with vanilla as well. So yeah, you got a lot of warm, spicy, and sweet notes there. And that is how this comes across. Has a great bubbly, sparkly effervescence to it. Smells a little bit similar to Invictus Victory. Some people have said that it reminds them of Ultramall to an extent from Jean Paul Gaultier. I don't really get the Ultramall very much, but I do get the Invictus Victory. I think that Pure Excess and Pure Excess Night are overlooked as far as cool weather evening fragrances. They do the job, they get attention, they last a long time, they smell great in my opinion. Completely overlooked. And there we go. 10 fragrances, great longevity that smell awesome in the dry down. A couple of these maybe in the opening it might get you. You know, you might think, I don't know. Let it dry down. Then they smell just freaking great. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Please stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.